morning, YouTube. Thank you for joining us on this bright, sunny day here in Georgia. Not too hot right now, but it will get that way as the day goes on. It'll get hotter and it'll get more humid. Today is the final day for these Cornish cross beautiful meat chickens. They have gotten large and they have gotten to be healthy chickens. So we will be weighing some today as well. Before and after processing, we'll be processing these meat birds today. Stick with us and see what the weights are and see what the process is to get these meat chickens from the stage they are now to the stage where they are ready to go in the freezer. We will not be showing anything that is sensitive to viewers as far as the dispatching of these birds or anything to that effect. We will show the process of processing one of these chickens, but there will not be anything gory. Stick with us and let's see how this. James and Angela, you know, we reviewed this video and started doing the editing and realized that as much as it is about chicken processing, it's also about the people in this video. And we wanted to bring out the light on a few things. For instance, Kinfolk Farm and Homesteading the Right Way, two channels that if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have done this, wouldn't have been able to do this. Angela's gonna link them below, but guys, they brought us the plucker. Without the chicken plucker that you saw, we couldn't have plucked all these birds by hand. We could have, but we'd have been a long time. Let's put it that way. They delivered the plucker and they came back and picked it up. Travis from Homestead the Right Way dropped it off, came back the next weekend and picked it up. And they're also who taught me how to process chickens. I went over their place and when they were doing their, well, I'm gonna call it a clinic. They were just processing their birds. They allowed me to come over and watch them do it. Guys, it's muggy out here today.
Very. And Two Cedars Microfarm, Dave and Darcy came. It's very, very hot out here. Dave and Darcy came, and I missed meeting General Lee. I was sad he did not come.
That's right. There's German Shepherd. He should have been here.
Yeah. You'll see them in the video, and I'll link their channel down below also.
He's a hoot. Guys, you know, on top of those three big YouTube channels that came out to join us and help us out, YouTube's a big community of people. We love them to death. They're all within an hour of us that came to help us. Our people that are close to us, our community, you know, the family that you saw here was our immediate family, our kids and in-laws, but the friends that you saw show up were awesome. They just came out because we needed a hand. Some of them were excited about chickens, some of them weren't, but they knew we needed a hand. And you'll see through the video, more and more people just kept showing up. Hey, Petways need a hand. You know, the word just spread and you'll see people kept showing up. And just because we needed a hand, they'd never done it. And they just jumped in. Some showed up to help. Some showed up just to hang out and lighten the mood. You'll see we had a good time throughout the entire video.
And what he's talking about is we have a great community here. We live in a very small community. And people just showed up because they knew we were doing this just to help. Some people showed up to just chit chat and then ended up helping. They realized that they were struggling and needed help. So they just hopped right in. And that's the kind of community we live in. If a neighbor needs help, we go help them. If we need help, they come help us. It's kind of like it was back in the day. It's nice to live in a community like that. Stay tuned to the end of the video. We have a couple things we want to tell you about some chickens that we lost. So if you'll stay tuned to the end, you'll find out about that. All right, so we're setting up. Everybody's getting everything together. We got neighbors, son, granddaughter, Lauren, say hello. The son, daughter-in-law, Brooke. We have Darcy that came to visit.
Hey, Henry.
From
Woodland, Alabama.
Woodland, Alabama. What's y'all's YouTube channel?
Two Cedars Microfarm.
Two Cedars Microfarm. I cannot remember it. And here's Sorry.
When I'm there, I can. Hey.
Hey, here's Travis from Homesteading the Right Way and Dave from Two Cedars Microfarm. More people showing up to help. Nathan. And my boy Henry. Henry. Nope. Gotta go see people.
Nathan, y'all first go up
Look at the camera.
there.
Hey, baby boy. You ain't come see me.
All right, guys, we're fixing to start the processing. Gonna go through the process here in just a minute. This is our motley looking crew we have. Starting over here on the right, look, over here on the right-hand side over here, or left-hand side, I don't know, raise your hand, David. All right, that's my oldest son, David. Well, never mind, we're starting with Peasy over there. Peasy's the skinny guy in the tank top, he's a friend of the family. In front of him, you've got Nathan with the long hair. Then you got David in the background with the red beard. You've got Robert with the red beard way in the back there, he's a family friend. Landon, my grandson. Then you've got Angela, my wife. Little man standing beside hers, a family friend from down the road. He came to help us today. Way back there in the back, you've got Dave and Darcy from Two Cedars Microfarm standing beside each other. They came up here to help us. Check their YouTube channel out. My daughter-in-law Brooks beside them, and then you've got Miss Sherry, who's with Cherie, excuse me, who's with Peasy wherever he went. I was trying to find him again, but I don't know where he wandered off to. But she's with him, so that's our crew that's going to be here to help us today. Oh, where's Lauren? Oh, Lauren, I didn't see her. Where's she at? There's Lauren. Wave, Lauren. All right, Lauren's going to be the chief chicken catcher today, so let me take y'all through our process. Hey guys, so apparently something went haywire with our audio over the next little bit, so you're gonna have to deal with a voiceover. We don't like it either, but that's what it's gotta be like. So the kids and the driver for the four-wheeler and a little trailer brought the chickens from the chicken tractor down here to the holding pen, and from there they went from this stage. Nathan grabbed them out of here and he took them to the killing cones. Nathan, our youngest son, was manning the killing cones. When you put the chickens in the killing cones, it puts them upside down in there, and they're in kind of a euphoric state. The blood rushes to their head, puts them in a calming state. You make one slice at the bottom of their skull, top of their neck, and that ends it there. Very humane. They drain out their blood into a bucket, and from there, after they get through with that process, and you get through draining, and there's a little bit of thrashing around that goes on. You pull them out of there and you take them to the scalder. Once you get over into the scalder water is at about 145 to 152. You take the chicken by the legs, you dunk them in and out of the scalder. You leave them in there for about 15, 20 seconds, and then you dunk them in and out several times after that. Total length of time will only be 25 to 30 seconds tops. You test it by pulling the wings, the feather, with the main primary wings from the feathers. As they get easier to pull out, that's when you know the chicken is ready to go from there into plucker. All right, once you drop it into the plucker, the feathers come out easy. You drop it over into the plucker. You'll see the plucker, it spins around. There's just rubber fingers down in there. The water squirts out into the plucker through an internal hose system. And man, it comes out of there after about 20 seconds, naked as a jay. From there, we walk over to the we trip over Henry. You know, he's our number one helper here. Just ask him, he'll tell you. So we trip over Henry as we're going to the evisceration table, which is frankly a very nice big word for saying this is where we clean the chickens and we gut the chickens out. We'll have 2 or 3 people manning this station. From there, when we get through doing all the evisceration, we're going to move over into the cooling tanks. Now, just 3 big industrial stainless steel table with 3 big sinks. You have one is cold water and vinegar to help cleanse the chicken some more. The next one is colder water with ice. It cools it even more. You go into the 3rd tank. It is a lot more ice and water to make it even colder. That helps get them cooled down before they go into the freezer and cool the chickens down to ice cold. From there, we move to the drying racks where the ladies will be doing the all-important step of final inspection. They'll be picking some pin feathers that got missed, making sure everything got crystal clean and clear.
and checking for anything that might have been missed anywhere else in the process. They will then put the shrink wrap bags, once it's dried, takes just very little time. They'll put the shrink wrap bags also on top of the chickens. Those are from Texas Shrink Wrap Poultry or something to that effect. We'll put a link down in the description below for those bags. Very good bags. After we get everything inspected and bagged up loosely, we will go from there into this tank here, which is the shrinking tank, for lack of better words. It's a big tank with a pot of water. We have to get to temperature of 180 to 190. Very simple process. There's a couple minor steps to it, but very easy. Easiest way to get these chickens wrapped and ready to go. We will shrink them down. It'll force all the air out of the outside. We'll shrink them, bring them back out of there, bring them back to the table where we will weigh them. They'll have no air in it. They will be sealed, weighed, labeled, and moved into the freezer.
As you can see right here, he's showing our oldest how to cut up the chicken, and then how to get the insides out. While he was doing this, things started piling up, and they realized they were going to need some extra help here, which you'll see as time goes on in the day that more people showed up to help with this. But at the end of the video, you'll hear him talking about an evisceration tool or a lung scraper. Once they got that, and we had it in my car, once we got it out and cleaned it up, he started to use that, and this process went a whole lot faster. So stay tuned till the end, and so you can hear about that and where to possibly get one.
Trying to get a hold of it. I'd say $150.
Yes, baby.
Y'all doing a fine job, ladies. Next time I get my hands full of guts, next time y'all get a hands full of guts, I'm gonna come over and love on you. I'm gonna let a little bit of water out. Hang on. Hey, borrow your knife real quick. Yeah, the fingers on top of that freezer because we'll put up our lower tip side and everything. Just a minute. Yes.
Sorry, chicken.
Drain it down a little bit so we can add some more ice. Yeah.
We'll get you some more, baby. I know, baby, but we'll get you some more. I know it is, darling.
It's something I meant to mention earlier. This is a tool, especially for you guys that aren't super familiar with processing chickens, maybe your first or second time. This tool was a lifesaver for us. You guys that are familiar with this might say, oh, you don't need it, but we loved it. They call this a bunch of different things. The guy that we bought our chicken tractors from, bless his soul, he's still alive, I don't mean that, but he told us, take this, you'll love it. Now, they're not cheap. They're $25 or $30 on, we can't even find them on Amazon. You search the web, chicken evisceration tool, lung removal tool. They call them different things. If you can't find them, drop me a comment. I'll get you the link that because I helped somebody else down the road find them. We'll drop, if you can't find them and you want them. To get the lungs, you have to really scrape. You can see I'm a little challenged with fingernails. So due to some trauma that I had, so trying to get them out is hard. This cleans the inside of a chicken out. And hello, kitty. This cleans, you can't make this stuff up.
That's our kitty, Caitlin.
Yes, this is Caitlin. She was afraid we might be talking about her. This, come here, baby. This cleans the inside of a chicken out very well. Gets the lungs out, which are very hard to get to. Very hard to clean out. So anyway, we'll go leave that for another one. If you can't find it online, could not find it on Amazon. If you can't find it online, drop me a comment. I'll shoot you a link to where you can pick them up. Okay, so this is one of our birds. It's been fully shrink wrapped. As you can see, there's no air. It's tight, fully shrink wrapped, ready to go. Trying to keep from getting frosted. Those are the labels that we get. Farm-raised poultry. We tag them. We put the weight and the date on them. This is a whole chicken. We did do some half chickens as well, and we did some quarter chickens as well. I wanted to go through the weights that we had real quick. I mentioned to you earlier that we're going to get to it in the next little clip. We're going to get to it as to why some of the numbers turned out like they did. Okay, guys, got my notes right here. Birds that we processed, total birds that we processed, they came out to be only 55 birds. We ordered 75. We started with 75. We're going to get to it a little while later why we only had 55 left when it ended. Stuff was kind of the black elephant, if you want to call it that, white elephant in the room. That led to our costs being higher than what we wanted. Number two, the heaviest bird out of what we processed bird. Again, this was our first time, so we didn't get the live bird weights like we were planning on it. It was kind of a frenzy that day doing all of them. But the actual heaviest processed bird that we had was 5.5 pounds. To give you an idea, this one was 4.9 pounds, 4.4 pounds, 4.9. So this is almost a 5-pound bird. And decimal 4.10 would be right at a 5-pound bird. So 4.9 pounds, 5.5, an extra half a pound bigger than this was our biggest bird. So a little bit bigger than this was our biggest bird, 5.5 pounds. Our lightest processed bird was 3.12 pounds. Now remember, our birds were raised totally organic, non-GMO, no genetically modified organisms, and no soy, so no fillers. That does keep the weight down a little bit. That's how we like it. No junk in, no junk out, totally organic. And we will keep it that way. They can have that extra pound or two. We're gonna keep it organic and natural. All right, the average weight, if you take the total number of birds we had, and divide it, and take the total number of birds and all of their weights together, our average weight came out to 4.19 pounds for the average weight of all the birds. If you take the total weight of all the chickens, processed chickens that we put into our freezers, we came out with 230 pounds, 230 and a half pounds of meat that we put into meat and chicken that we put into the freezers. Not complaining a bit about that, guys. That's a lot of meat. That's a lot of food to last us. A lot of food to get us through. The total cost of raising all of those chickens was $587. Now, if you break down the total weight of the chickens in the freezer and the total cost of raising the chickens, we came up to a cost per pound of $2.54. Now, that included, back to the total cost, that included the purchasing of the chickens, and that also included all of the organic, non-GMO, no soy feed that we bought for those chickens. Now, and you divided that out, obviously, so that came to a total cost per pound of $2.54 per pound of chicken that we put into the freezer. So, what could we have done different to lower the cost of that? We wanted our cost to be closer to $2 a pound. Maybe not get down to $2 a pound, but we wanted to get closer to $2 a pound. So what could we have done? Hey guys, Angela's behind the camera, but both of us want to talk about ways that we could have saved money. The first one is something just personal to Angela and I, personal to, well, not just us, but our kids, the way that David, Nathan, and Brooke, the way that we're doing the farmstead here. We made a personal choice to, put in our animals what we want to get out of our animals. It's a personal choice to us to go with a no soy, no filler, non-GMO feed, very high quality feed. Costs more per bag. Per 50 pounds, it costs about an average of $4 to $5 more per bag. Sometimes you can get a little bit cheaper, depending on whether it's for a egg laying. If it's an egg laying mix for your egg laying chickens, whether it's a grower or a starter grower for your meat birds, which is what we're talking about here, or whether it's for your pigs. Your feeder hogs, but that is a choice we made. We're not judging anybody. If you want to go with you can still get a very good, very high quality feed from a very reputable dealer that may not have, that is not guaranteed GMO free, genetically modified organisms, what it's called. It's not guaranteed GMO free and guaranteed soy feed, and may have some fillers in it. That's a very good, high quality feed. It just costs about, usually for the meat birds, about $3 a bag less. We chose to go the other route, which when you're figuring 50-pound bags, and we had, I don't know, probably $500, $450 or so. I don't have the number right in front of me. $450, $475 in feed for our meat birds at $4 a bag, somewhere in there, $3, $4 a bag per 50-pound bag. That adds up for a decent amount. Don't have those exact numbers, but again, that's a personal choice we made. Per farm, you make your own choice. That's just one that we made. Now to get to the second one, let's go talk about the second one, the second big cost problem we had when we raised these birds. All right guys, so one thing that we did, like I said, I know we're going to take a beating probably in the comments or email, if not now, later on down the road as our channel gets a little bigger and more people watch this video, but we want to explain one of the worst things that happened so that you guys understand and maybe you don't make the same mistake. We were moving our meat chickens from the brooder into our meat tractor. What we did is we had this hooked to a lawnmower. I don't even like talking about it. We had it hooked to a lawnmower. The first trip we had this container, we loaded them all up. We had this container turned the other way. It sat down in here, no problem.
All right, we had it sitting the other way. They were sitting flat, no problem whatsoever. Transported the first load, put them in a chicken tractor. Didn't have any problem, about half of them. Happy-go-lucky, no problem at all. Second time around, went back down there, caught more chickens, we put them in here. Our grandbaby girl, Lauren, wanted to ride. Me, Ma, Angela was driving. She wanted to ride in the wagon on the way back around behind the tractor. So to make room for her, we picked up the chickens. This was loaded with chickens, and we turned it sideways to make room for Lauren to ride in the front. And Angela brought them back around. When she got back around, and we were doing, David, my son, had built the watering stand for the waterers, and we were doing the final preps with that. And we went to get a couple chickens out and weighed them real quick. You'll see that in the video. We weighed them real quick, and then a little bit of time went by. Too much time went by, and we went to get the other chickens out. When we did, we got them down to the cage, and we started getting the chickens out. What happened, guys, is we had to, when this is tilted, little did we know this is our first time with meat birds and that many chickens. Little did we know, tilting this, the chickens all slid to the back. And the ones on the bottom down there, they couldn't get in the air. All the chickens piled up toward the back of this, and the poor babies down on the bottom couldn't get in the air. And that caused them to suffocate.
He was tore up about it. Real tore up.
Tore up. You know, if birds die naturally, that's part of farming, when they die naturally. When they die because we do something wrong, we're their caretaker. Our birds, our animals, our whole thing here is they have a happy life. We love our animals. They have one bad day. Take them out. We got a few out, and then we usually tilt the cage up so they can walk out, and they weren't walking out. The cage was still heavy, and we lost about 12 birds that day. 12 to maybe even 15. You kind of block out the number in your head.
Cross are not a hardy bird.
Yeah, they're not athletic.
And it doesn't take much for them to die.
So I don't like talking about it, but that really raised our cost. And the reason it raised our cost is because obviously, you know, we have more birds that we paid for, more birds that we fed the first 4 weeks, and we don't have anything at the end. There's no poundage to add to it to decrease the cost per pound. So that was one of the biggest things we did, guys. We want y'all to learn from that. And I'm going to here and show you something else that we did that we found we were losing some birds by.
Okay.
All right, guys, another thing that I saw, you know, it's real hot in the middle of summertime. We won't raise birds in the middle of summertime again. We will do spring and we will do fall. Jordan Green from Farm Builder 1, he happened to come out at just the right time. We were losing some birds due to heat. They're very labored when they were eating. After they ate, I noticed they were very labored. Jordan Green gave 2 suggestions. Video came out right in the middle of us losing some birds. We lost about 4 or 5 in 1 week. And
that was the week we were going to process.
That was at the 8-week mark, or 9 weeks, somewhere in there, 7 or 8 week mark. And Jordan mentioned 2 suggestions on his to keep the Cornish cross in the middle of summer from having such a bad time. One was to raise up the back of his chicken. You know, the chicken tractors he uses, which aren't the same as ours, but he mentioned to raise them up and to kick a rock or something underneath the edge of it, which we did. You can see this one has an automatic vent, but we still had them under. You see the rocks that we had underneath at the time. That allows air to circulate through the bottom. We've got another one over here that we were using. The other thing that he mentioned is to change the feeding times. We were going from 7A to 7P, 12 on, 12 off for the last 4 weeks. You do 4 weeks of the last 7 weeks. You do 3 weeks 24/7 feeding. Last 7 weeks you do 12 on, 12 off. He said change their feeding times from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m., lunchtime to midnight. The reason for that is because you don't want them eating all of their food during the heat of the day. It really labors the Cornish cross. And when you watch them, you sit here and watch them, you see that. They're really having a hard time digesting in the heat. So by changing it maybe 5 hours during the heat of the day instead of the entire heat of the day that they're eating. So that's what we did. I changed it. I changed their feeding time, and we did not lose any more birds due to the heat. And thanks to Jordan Green and Farm Builder 1 for that tip. I know it was a lengthy video. We had a lot of things that we wanted to cover. The video had a lot of good points. I don't want to seem like we ended it on a bad note, but we wanted to teach you guys what we learned. Had a lot of good points, a lot of community, and a lot of family. Thank you for joining us on this video. I hope you learned something from it. Please like our channel, please like the video, please subscribe, and join us in our venture to see where we go next. Ring that notification bell, and let's see where we're heading.